YouTube, how the heck we doing today, guys? It is your boy Rikar here, and today it's Tuesday. You guys know what that means. It's Tier List Tuesday, baby. Let's go! Alright, you guys, so for anyone that hasn't been here before, we do a tier list every Tuesday, and this week we are doing SMGs in Season 5 of Call of Duty Warzone. So, MP5 from Modern Warfare got nerfed today. It wasn't like a drastic nerf though, so that is like the only change we've really seen in SMGs going into Season 5. There hasn't been a giant balance update like I'm kind of expecting coming in the future, but for the time being, I think this is a great time to do the SMGs compared to like ARs or something like that, because ARs are going to get changed at some point. There's some very drastic, stronger ones, but SMGs, there's a lot of good, consistent, viable weapons. So we're going to go in here, guys. We're going to do all of them, even the Tech 9, and I hope you guys do enjoy. If you guys do enjoy today's tier list, make sure you guys do drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you guys like the tier list Tuesdays, because we do one every Tuesday. We do also all kinds of gun gameplays and keep you guys ahead of the meta as well as possible. And comment below, guys, what you guys thought about today's tier list, because I always enjoy your guys' commentary, because some people think some guns are amazing, and I'm like, all right, you got to try some of these other ones, because let's be honest here. I know the stats. I go off a feel. There's so many things that goes into this. I hope you guys do enjoy it today. Let's jump into it. All right, you guys, so starting off with the MP5 from Call of Duty Modern Warfare. The hot topic, because it got nerfed literally today. So I think it goes into A tier just because it's still going to have a very fast time to kill in that 0 to 10 meter range, but it was already struggling past that, and it was 100% an S tier weapon before, just because most SMG fights are 0 to 10 meters, but if you started shooting at people at longer range with this, it was so hard to kill people. It's one of the initial nerfs that they had before Black Ops Cold War weapons even integrated. So it's definitely in not as good of a spot, but it's still definitely above viable, and I think it's very solid right now. The Fennec is kind of in the same situation, but I put it below that one just because the Fennec has one of the fastest time to kills. I think it's second behind the OTS-9 when it comes to SMGs, but the Fennec is just hard to control sometimes. It just feels super awkward in some fights, but then other ones, you just absolutely melt people. I don't know. There's just something about that gun that just, I want to love it so bad, but you just can't love it. I don't love it. So next we have the Striker 45. That's going to be going in the C tier today for me. The Striker 45 is one of the guns I actually have gold from Modern Warfare grinding it when it first came out. I don't know why I grinded it. I was going to do Damascus originally, and then I was just like, I don't care about camos. What am I doing? I'm just here to put out content. So Striker 45, C, it just doesn't do enough damage. It's not D tier, even though it's probably one of the worst in the game, but it shoots straight, so it's not like you're trolling. So it doesn't fall in the D, but it doesn't go anything past that. Black Ops Cold War MP5. This is one of the toughest ones on the entire list here today, guys, because it's definitely, I don't know. I think I got to put it in S tier. It still has a really good time to kill. It got nerfed going into Season 4 Reloaded. I don't think it's gotten touched since, though. It's really solid. It's either, like, if there was a line right here on S and A, like a low tier, I'm going to put this at like a low tier S. Like, it's so good because of the movement you get from the builds I love to run on it, and it does so well in so many situations, but it's slowly falling off, like they're nerfing it slightly. But I think with some of the changes they've made recently, I still think it has one of the fastest time to kills in the game, so we'll leave it there. Movement plus time to kill, we'll put it in S tier. But guys, if you guys want to know any of the builds I run on these guns, you can go over to one of my Twitch channels. You can go over to my YouTube live streams when I'm live, do exclamation point loadouts, and it'll pull up the link there. And I'll also throw the link in the description below. So that's that. And if you guys need any of those loadouts, I update them as often as I possibly can. I'm not on top of it because I'm a one-man team all the time, but it'll say the date on there when it was last updated. And I know I did it for the end of Season 4. So we're sitting pretty good right now. The ISO. One of the guns that was actually buffed in Season 4 Reloaded for Modern Warfare. I think this gun's actually pretty legit right now. Unfortunately, it suffers from a horrible iron sight, so I'm going to put it at B tier, but it definitely has the stats to go into A tier. Like, when you put a sight on it, it runs awful as well, so it's like you can't save the iron sight with a sight. It's just ugly with the iron sight on there, man. So unfortunately, it's a B tier, but I do think it performs like an A tier, in my opinion, if you can hit the shots, but that iron sight is just too much to get over. The PP Bizon. This is a tough one too. forgot, like, these are all so solid right now. Like, this one, it has a crazy aim down sight speed. I think it actually has the fastest aim down sight speed of any SMG with the build that I run on it, and I just don't miss shots with it. Like, this is low-key like an A-tier weapon. But I'm gonna shock everyone. It's going A tier. Honestly, it is so slept on right now, guys. I don't have the time to kill stats pulled up right now, but it is very competitive, and there's no recoil on it. Fire rate's pretty solid, and honestly, it is so slept on. Like, very, very solid gun that no one ever talks about, because the bullfrog kind of took its place because it's like the same gun, and then at this point in time, I think they're basically the same gun. So at this point, let's do the bullfrog. I'm gonna put the bullfrog at A tier as well. No recoil, crazy headshot multiplier like a lot of the Black Ops weapons. So if you can hit that headshot, it's definitely viable. And you see a lot of people that are hacking right now. I do hacking because they're blatantly aimbotting. They use the bullfrog. It's because they absolutely just destroy people when you get headshots. It's crazy. Some of the things you're seeing right now in the game. Unfortunately, we have to deal with it. But November 5th, hopefully it'll be fixed. The Uzi. In my opinion, this is probably my least favorite gun in the game. I try to make this gun work. It's okay. The .401 AE rounds on it does make it kill faster, but the recoil plus iron sight on it is so uncomfortable to use. So the time to kill isn't the issue on this gun. It's just everything else about it. It doesn't have the greatest range. It's just a C tier weapon, guys. It's right there with the striker. And then they have the regular Uzi with the regular rounds. I'm going to keep it right there, C tier as well. I think this... You have to use the 4.1 round, so like you can even put this one at D tier because I think it's worse. But I personally just do not enjoy the Uzi. I think it is an okay weapon, but to me it's just eh. The P90. Oh, the P90. I like this weapon because it has zero recoil and has really good range. It's slept on because it's actually a pretty solid secondary. Like overall, like out of all SMGs, it's never really been touched that much. So it's got a good hip fire, good iron sight, good range on it. I think I'm gonna put it at B tier, honestly, because it has a fine kill time. Like it doesn't like have a great kill time, but you can get away with it. I think a P90 fits in that solid, viable meta. You're not gonna win every gunfight, but you're gonna win most of them if you hit your shots. The MP7. This one is fun because this is right in that area too, where this could be a solid S or A tier. Ugh. I think we're gonna put it at. No one's really using it yet, but the time to kill on it's top 5 right. I'm putting it at S. The reason I put it at S, and a lot of people are going to argue this one probably in the comments, because I haven't really been using it that much lately, but when I tested this gun after the changes to it, after it got buffed, well, it didn't get buffed. Every other gun got nerfed and it just stayed the same. So it's a top 5. I think it's number 5 on the time to kill list. It has zero recoil and it has phenomenal range. So it's unbelievably consistent. If you guys ever been to my tier list before, consistency is humongous. So I would definitely put it at S tier right now, just because some of the other ones have kind of fallen down the list a little bit, but it's definitely like a low end. Like these are both low end S tiers. Like they're not like the most OP in the game, but they're definitely S tiers, I think. So the AUG 9mm, it's actually in a pretty decent spot right now. I like the 5.56 rounds more on it though. So I'm going to put the AUG in B, and then I'll put the AUG 5.56s at B. I think I said B on the first one. So C and B. The 5.56 rounds, the damage and range on them are very nice to have. It just is a very lunky gun. Like it is heavy. And when you use something like the Cold War MP5 or any of the Cold War weapons and you switch over to that AUG, when I did that AUG video last season in season 4, I was like, I feel like my feet have cement on them. Like I'm just towing a freaking trailer behind me while I'm running with this gun. So that's the only downside on it. Kill time's very competitive. I think it's in the top 7 or 8 right now. So definitely solid, but I would prefer it to be faster. If they could do that change, I'd love it. I would love to see the Modern Warfare weapons in general get a speed buff, but that's why most of the Cold War weapons are the stronger ones, because you can just run so fast and just be so much more consistent with it. The MP5 for some reason for Modern Warfare runs really fast too, so it is what it is. But the nail gun is coming up next. The nail gun, it got nerfed. It has a crazy time to kill, but has absolutely no ammo. I think it's a B tier. It's viable, but you're not going to be taking this on a regular basis. I mean, it's kind of a niche, like, trolling gun. Like, you could throw it in D here, but At the end of the day, it kills fast enough. You can have a good time with it and say like rebirth, just because if you die, you can come back, but you probably kill 2 or 3 of them before you die. But in a 4, you're at most getting full kills on someone. You're getting 2 people with killing them off the ground if you don't have like a throwing knife or something. And then, I don't know. It's a fun gun. It sucks that they like absolutely just slammed it right away because it already had a ginormous issue with ammo, and then they nerfed it. So it's solid. Still has one of the fastest time to kills, but that ammo is huge. PPSH 41. Ooh, this might actually be S tier. I really like the PPSH right now. The build I use it with the micro reflex on it, it actually feels really good. So I'm actually gonna throw this surprisingly in S tier. I think it's a very, very solid gun right now. It's just like when you put that micro reflex on it, it gets rid of those issues at the short medium range that it had. Like, it's a great gun and an unbelievable gun up in close and personal, but when you get to that like medium range, it's very tough. If you guys haven't tried the micro reflex on it, definitely give it a go. I have a great build with it, and honestly, it fixed everything for me. I love it. It feels so good, and the stats are super competitive. So definitely give it a rip. I really believe that it is an S tier weapon right now. The Mac 10 to me is just the best. I'm moving the MP7 to A. It's bothering me. I just have to do it. It's bothering me. It's a good gun. It's definitely top of A, but it's bothering me here. I think it's not as good as some of these other ones. At the end of the day, it's good, but it's not great. Mac 10 is my favorite SMG since it came out. The fire rate is nuts on it. Iron sight's great with the gallantry blueprint, or the new one that just came out. I don't remember the name. Skinny one. And then it's just great time to kill. Always has had good range. Great movements. Technically the fastest gun in the game if you put the right attachments on it. It's just, you can't go wrong. At the end of the day, it was broken, and it's not broken at all in my opinion. I think it is you have to be able to hit your shots at the medium range to really like that short medium range to really take advantage of it fully. But up close and personal, the time to kill is really easy and really fast. And I would recommend it to literally anyone to give it a go because it's super fun. So definitely S tier. I think the OTS-9 right now is probably the best SMG in the game. There is one issue with it though, is that it only has a 40 round mag, sorry. The 40 round mag on it is a definite issue, but with how the game is right now, like, you're not really in 1v4 situations that often. And with the fast mag, it reloads pretty quickly. So as long as you hit your shots, it is totally viable. That's why TP is using it as his #1 SMG right now. I'm using it as my #1 SMG right now. The time to kill in 0 to 10 meters is #1 in the game, and you just kill people and it feels like 4 bullets. I haven't actually counted the bullets, but if you sneak a headshot in and a couple body shots, like, I think it's like 4 or 5 bullets. Like, it is nuts how much damage it does. So I would definitely recommend it. It is a little bit tough to use. Thank goodness they buffed it and fixed the bug where your gun was like aiming incorrectly. It was like blocking the iron sight on it, and now it's fixed so it aims like a normal SMG. So I think it's in a great spot right now. I don't know if it's going to get a nerf because up close, the time to kill is kind of nuts on it, but at range, it does struggle slightly. It does feel good with the build I'm using right now. Definitely check out my loadouts because it is solid, the build that I'm running on it right now. Next, we have the KSP45. This is actually kind of a sleeper. I would usually throw this at D tier because I hate it, but honestly, after the buffs they put in it, I think it moves up to C. No one wants to use a burst as an SMG, so at the end of the day, that's the big issue on it. If you were able to get consistent with it, though, I do think it is super viable in the fighting. Like, it's just like you just don't want to use that. At the end of the day, the time to kill is good, but it's just clunky. You're not going to win every gunfight using that gun. It's just not consistent enough. The LC-10 for me is a sad gun. It's never been the best gun in the game, but it's never been the worst gun in the game. It's always like right in the middle. I've had it at S before, I've had it at A before, but after the most recent changes, I think you have to put it at like an A tier still. I think it falls there just because the headshot multiplier is really good. There's absolutely no recoil on it. I think it has the best range of any SMG. So, I mean, it's just a consistent, easy weapon to use. You can put a hip fire build on it. You can put a long range build on it. I mean, there's a lot. You can put a speed build on it. There's so many good builds you can use on it. I wish they didn't affect the time to kill on it because it was not broken at any point in time. So It sucks that it's not an S tier, but I love the LC10. The fire rate on it for me just feels very smooth and a very easy gun to use. That is a gun that I would recommend to low-level players all day long because there is zero recoil, the gun shoots straight, and if you accidentally have it out at like medium range, you can still get away with it. So, highly recommend that one. AK-74U. This one has had an interesting path. It was like terrible, and they shot it to S tier with some changes, and Z-Laner was using it, and it just got hit kind of hard in Season 4 Reloaded. It like got like a weird buff nerf, but it doesn't feel as good as it used to. So I think it's going to fall into A tier still. It could fight for B tier. It just doesn't feel right. The gun has never felt smooth. It feels a lot better on controller, 100%. As someone that plays both, it is a controller weapon. Do not use that gun on mouse and keyboard. It feels horrible. That's all I got to say about that one. Time to kill is fine, but the range, it just, it gives me the heebie-jeebies. It's interesting how I've said like every one of these Cold War weapons is interesting because the Milano might be the most interesting. It's funny that it's last because this weapon was straight busted at the 3x scope range, and then they just hard nerfed it. Like it was S tier 100%, and then it got nerfed, and then it got touched again. And so it's like, it falls somewhere in here. Matters what you're using it for. As a sniper support, I think it is a solid, like, SA tier. Like, right in between. For an SMG, though, I think we still got to put it at A tier. It still has a good time to kill. It just has a weird fire rate. So, if you're not using it consistently, you're not going to enjoy this weapon. But if you use it consistently, you will love this weapon. Absolutely. So, guys, this is the point where I'm going to switch over to Photoshop real quickly, and we're going to throw on the Tech 9. All right, guys, and so you can see here, I have the Tech 9 here. I'm just using Photoshop real quickly here. I actually can zoom this in just a little bit. You can see the whole tier list here. The Tech 9, I think this is going to fall into like a solid A tier right now. It has a really fast fire rate and a good time to kill, but you have to level it all the way up. You have to get full auto on it. It feels horrible at semi-auto. It feels okay at burst, but you have to get it to the full auto to really get its full efficiency of the weapon. It's definitely good enough to kill people quickly, but the mag on it is it's like the OTS, but it uses way more bullets to kill people because it's like a fire rate gun. It's like that Mac 10, and the OTS had a baby and made the Tech 9. So, and there's no akimbo with it because that was a rumor originally, but I think it's solid. I think you can get away with it. If it gets any kind of nerf, though, it's not going to be viable. So we'll see what ends up happening. I think it's a fun gun to use right now. Pretty solid iron sight on it. Definitely a solid A tier. But it looks like we got pretty A tier happy today. I'm really happy about this. Like I said earlier, I think the OTS is the best gun in the game if you guys are using it and like are really hitting your shots. Mac 10's probably your most consistent. PPSH is really slept on. Try out the build I was talking about earlier. I promise you it's good. And then the Cold War MP5, the movement, damage, it just feels really clean, guys, as usual. And then I'm gonna make a top 5 list this week for you guys on the best guns to use for beginners. I'll go over that in that video a little bit more, but I appreciate anyone that did make it this far in the video. Let me know down in the comments what you guys thought about it. Like the video and subscribe to the channel so you guys can find yourself back here. I appreciate you guys. We just hit 10,000 subscribers and I couldn't do it without you. Have a wonderful rest of your day and peace out.